All right, we're live.
Good morning. Welcome to the Arch Discovery Day opening session for the class of 2023. My name is Jade Felder. I am Director of the Arch and Student Transitions, and I would like to thank you all for signing on with us this morning. We want to give you a chance to come on in. The link is now live at 11 a.m. If you are joining us, feel free to send the link to parents, anyone who would like to learn any information about the upcoming fall and spring term for our sophomores. So we are going to go ahead and get started with our opening session because we want to make sure that we are maximizing the time here. And I am going to start with turning it over to our Vice President for Student Life here at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, Dr. Konworski.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to welcome you on behalf of the Institute and make a couple comments. First of all, welcome to the class of 2023 and your families who might have joined us today. We're especially excited to kick off Arch Discovery Day, but really it's Arch Discovery Week. And we're really happy that you're in with us this session, and you'll have a time throughout the week to answer all the questions that come up. I want to say, as the Vice President of Student Life, all of us are excited about the support that the Arch team will provide you over the next year from starting through today all the way through this time next year, where you'll complete your summer semester. And I want to say we had a phenomenal summer this summer, except for the fact that we were remote. It was a little bit of a challenge, and we know you'll have a little bit of a challenge this fall, but we want you to know that there are an amazing array of resources and support for you as you begin the Arch and as you begin your fall semester on campus or in the community. In that spirit, let me talk a little bit about the Arch. I think the Arch is an incredible differentiator for Rensselaer. And you're going to hear a lot about that from the combination of courses and the experiential learning. And so we want you to just start to envision where you'll be as you think about your next year. Take time now, start to think and plan. And that's what this week, this Arch Discovery Week, is designed to do, to get you thinking and planning for the future and starting to think about that next adventure on your horizon. So a couple things, as I mentioned, the Arch team is going to be your guide throughout the process. They'll be with you and support you, as well as your class dean and all of your academic advisors. And so know that all of us are here. We're a phone call away. We're a WebEx away. We're, just don't hesitate to reach out by email or any of our platforms. And I want you to start to think about that incredible experience you're going to have. You're going to have those incredible classroom experiences as you head from your sophomore into your junior year. You're going to be making incredible relationships with the faculty members, really, as you get deeper and deeper into your major. And through our CCPD staff and the Arch staff in general, the Undergraduate Education team, you're going to start to think and plan for those amazing experiential opportunities. Whether you do a co-op, an internship, you do undergraduate research, you lead into a career in research that, kind of get your feet wet. You do something experiential that you design, a self-design. Maybe you do something abroad or you do something in service. So there's an array of things you'll experience as you embark upon your Arch adventure. So with that, I just wanted to say we'll all be here. We know this is a little bit of a challenging time for us, both domestically and globally. We want you to stay safe. We want you to continue to practice all those safety protocols that we've been talking about, and keep your health and those around you as a priority. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the Arch team and just say good luck. We are on campus today. A lot of us are working hard, and while we'll be tethered and connected virtually for the fall, we look forward to having you back on campus and connected and in the Arch this coming summer. So thank you, and thank you for joining us, both our students and many of the parents who've also joined us today.
Thank you, Dr. Konworski.
Okay, well, good morning. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Diamond Jackson. I'm the Assistant Director of the Arch and Student Transitions. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what to expect during this presentation. We're going to hear from Director Felder once again, going over the Arch and a brief overview of what is expected for you of the week. We're going to hear from the Director of Finance Aid, Mike Daniels, with Financial Planning, and the Associate Director, Michelle Orzel. You'll also get to hear from the class dean for sophomores, which is Isabel Norman. That's a good opportunity for you to understand, see a face to a name. We'll also hear from Dr. Tiffany Powell with Arch Academic Programs and the Director of Center for Career and Professional Development, Mr. Philip Bruce. And then we're going to transition into a brief FAQ from questions that you all submitted, and then we'll remind you of the requirements for this week. So we're going to jump right into it. And we're going to be hearing from Director Felder now.
Awesome. Thank you, Diamond. So I am going to start with giving you an at-a-glance view of what is happening this week for Arch Discovery session throughout. So what you can see here from Monday to Friday, we have a very robust schedule of different things taking place for the entire sophomore cohort. And so you'll see today, after the opening session, your fall term online preparation module in Percipio, it is live and it is available, and that is one of the requirements for all sophomores to complete. So in the emails that you've received from the Arch at Rensselaer, you should be able to access that Percipio module at this time. I know some students noted to me it was down over the weekend, and HR has confirmed for us that it is now live at 8 a.m. this morning. So you guys can go in and get started with that. You'll also see we have some CCPD information throughout the week happening, some very important workshops to attend. We also have academic sessions that are happening throughout the week. And so based upon the school that you are in, that is when your academic sessions will be taking place. You want to refer to the email from the Arch at Rensselaer that has the academic sessions time, date, and the online session information so that you can access those. I also want to point out on Wednesday, I will be doing the Arch Q&A from 3 to 5 p.m. I'll be sending out a WebEx link for any students who want to come on and join us, just to ask any questions that may come up throughout the week as you begin to plan for your Arch summer term in the upcoming summer 2021. So that's going to consist of a lot of things happening this fall and a lot of things happening in the spring, such as semester way selection. We're going to talk about the Arch exception process. We're going to talk about summer term registration. All of that information is going to be shared throughout today's presentation, but I want to make sure you know we will be doing an online Q&A session as well on Wednesday, and then again on Friday from 9 to 11 for those who couldn't do the 3 to 5 p.m. on Wednesday. The other thing I want to point out is that on Thursday morning, Dr. Powell will be facilitating an ILE self-design Q&A for you all. For anyone who's interested in learning a little bit more, once you hear from her today in this opening session. The other thing to keep in mind is that your academic sessions may not be today. They are scattered throughout the entire week, so you want to make sure that you attend both your online session, opening session now, but also your academic session in the afternoon for whenever it's taking place. I know for Maine, it's going to be in the evening, so make sure you know the time and the WebEx information for those academic sessions. Okay, so this is at a glance. You received this quick schedule this morning as well. So please refer back to your Arch email for all of those important dates. All right, let's jump into the information. So what is the Arch? That is one of the most important questions that I always receive. And I find myself doing a lot of good myth busting to give students an opportunity to understand in depth exactly what the Arch is. So this is really the tag of what we call it from a well-rounded perspective, the summer semester, the world away experience, and we prepare students to meet the multifaceted challenges of the 21st century. And so how do we do that? Let's go to the next slide. So what our president has developed for the Institute is really the Arch intentionality. What is the Arch designed to do for all students at Rensselaer? What is the purpose of doing it? Why is it important that all students receive experiential learning prior to going into their said career field? So the first thing is an acceleration of immersion in both the academic and professional world. And so what that basically does is it takes the pedagogy that students are learning in the first and second year at Rensselaer. You get a chance to get the theory, but the Arch allows you to have the application portion of it. So the things that you're learning in, say, embedded control in LITEC or IED, those are the kinds of classes that you then want to take and be able to apply that knowledge in the real world and in a professional field. So that's the first intentionality for the Arch. The second is the academic advising, career counseling, and leadership development. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for you all to develop your resumes to become more savvy in the vernacular that the STEM terminologies are using and the different employers are imploring for students they'd like to hire. So you're going to get that career counseling, you're going to get that leadership development, and you definitely have to have that academic advising to ensure that your matriculation throughout Rensselaer is subject to exactly what you need to meet those markers for graduation. The third thing is the unique academic and co-curricular experience during the summer. So one of the unique things about the Arch is we have the common lunch period. There's a lot of things that happen in the summer, like field trips to different companies. You have a much more intimate experience with your faculty because you're no longer competing for time, energy, resources with the other 3 or 4 cohorts that we have on Rensselaer's campus. What's unique is that when you all do become rising juniors, which you will after you complete the sophomore year, you will be able to immerse yourself in more of that academic discipline with those faculty members that are tied to what you're trying to graduate, the program you're graduating from. So that is why it's unique in that piece. And then the reclustering across all disciplines. The people you met in your freshman year at NRB, these are the people that you are going to come to know in a very different way now that you all are going to be juniors on campus after completing this sophomore year. So we want to get you in a place of preparation of what that actually looks like and how students are going to be connecting themselves to other students in a different light. Now you're looking at students as potential colleagues, as potential networking pods, as potential people who will go into the fields of engineering, science, humanities and social sciences, all those different career paths. These students will become those colleagues that you spend a lot of time with. So the next thing is more meaningful engagement with faculty. One of the things that the Undergraduate Education Office is very adamant about doing is making sure that students have that access to faculty, but also connecting to them outside of the classroom. And so that is going to be a very unique part of the summer as well, with different pop-up courses, different fireside chats, opportunities to discuss research, so many things that you will gain from that summer term experience speaking with your faculty. And then the very last thing is to engage in self-discovery, leading to an intellectual agility, multicultural sophistication, and a global perspective, which is what our institute's founding cornerstone is as it pertains to class outcomes. So when we think about self-discovery, who you are starting this sophomore year, that could potentially mean that you have a major change. That could potentially mean you join different organizations. That could potentially mean that you have found that you like this part of the major, but you don't necessarily like this part. You could also have something growing in your identity as a college student developing that you want to actually tap into from a self-discovery perspective. And so the Arch intentionality is really designed to equip you with everything that you need in order to be successful once you graduate from Rensselaer. A lot of students have noted to me that they have summer term jobs where they have, worked at home or maybe just a side hustle of some sort. But now it is time to look at a pivotal place in your career to say, what experience in the field do I have in my actual computer science major, for example? What experience do I have in the field in my electrical engineering major? These are the kinds of experience that we are trying to prepare students for, so that once you come back from your semester away experience, you are able to discern whether or not you're moving in the right direction for your career. Okay, so the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about the cohort breakdown and why the sophomore year is so important. The sophomore year is the complete preparation year. During the fall term and spring term, there will be a world of things that are done to prepare you for the Arch summer term, okay? And so you have your semester away selection this spring. You will also have Arch exception process this spring. You will also be registering for your Arch summer term this spring. So because you'll be on campus this spring due to our pandemic parameters, you'll be online in the fall where you'll have a lot of engagement with the Career Center. And then in the spring, you'll actually start your Career Center course, okay? So the junior year, you'll see it's semester away. This means that students will select which semester they would like to be away from Rensselaer, okay? And so where can you find information about How do I select my semester away? On the Arch website, under Institute Policies, each of our academic schools has outlined for every single major which options you have available for semester away. Some of the majors are required to be away in the fall, while some majors are required to be away in the spring. Majority of the majors at our institute are available for fall or spring away. And so the CCPD is really going to be helpful in helping you determine what would be best if you secured something in one semester versus another. And we can help you with those designation and designation switches should that particular concern arise for you. Now, for the cohort breakdown, you have 4 years to graduation, 8 semesters of instruction, and 8 semesters of financial aid. And that's also a myth-busting misconception I tend to have for students, is that the summer term is not going to be particularly funded, but in actuality it is. And Marty Daniels, our Director of Financial Aid, is going to talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so you completed your freshman year. You're into the sophomore year. That's probably going to be the most robust year that you have. Your junior year, you will spend the time away, and your senior year, you will be preparing for graduation or continuing your education into a co-terminal degree or a PhD, whatever your path may take you on. So one thing I do want to note before I depart from this particular slide is that juniors are required to live on campus in the summer term of their summer term on campus. So that means after your sophomore year concludes, all students will be moving to campus and will occupy the residential space should our institute be at normal capacity and normal operating procedures as we move away from pandemic parameters whenever we are allowed to do so. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into a little sample of what the next slide is, which is the summer schedule. This is a quick snapshot of what you can expect to see for the summer term, okay? This is common lunch period. This is something that's unique to the summer term. A lot of students really, really do enjoy that because everyone on campus is also a junior with you at that time, and they do a lot of catching up during this time. You'll also see that Wednesdays, there are no classes. We do have some students who do labs on Wednesdays, but particularly there are no classes scheduled on the Wednesday during the summer term. You'll see you have lab periods, and if we're back to normal operating procedures, we will be filling the schedule with a lot of different field trips to companies and labs, okay? So the very last thing I want to point out to you all is that you received your Arch Discovery Day brochure, which has the Arch calendar attached. And in that Arch calendar, there are some very important required completion things to be done. And so you all should be aware of your fall online Percipio module, completing your Handshake profile, and your academic session. The semester away selection is going to happen beginning at the end of the fall term, December 11th, when classes close. And then we also are going to be talking about the exception process because that's also going to be taking place as well. The enrollment in the Exploration and Planning course will be this spring. All students will be enrolled, and securing your semester away opportunity, you will need to secure an opportunity for the fall 2021 term or the spring 2022, okay? So that is it for me. I'm wrapping up in my little overview, and I'm gonna turn it back over to Ms. Jackson for us to move forward.
Great, thank you, Jade. Now we're going to hear from Director of Financial Aid, Martin Daniels, regarding financial planning. And then immediately after, we're going to hear from the Associate Bursar, Michelle Orzel, regarding any payment plans and processes and dates that you'll need to know. So we're going to slide into that.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Marty Daniels, and as Diamond mentioned, I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Rensselaer. Welcome to today's session. Our first slide really talks about the terms of eligibility and how financial aid interacts with the ARCH program as a concept. And one thing I just want to clarify at the start is that we typically are used to saying 8 semesters of eligibility. If you're an architecture major, of course, that becomes 10 semesters of eligibility for undergraduate. But the overall concept is that there are a finite number of terms during which we will provide the Rensselaer funding. And so for students, that's typically going to be 2 semesters per year. And then 1 semester will go towards your summer enrollment for the ARCH program. And then the second term for your junior year, that depends on when you're going to be on classes for your enrollment again. So the general parameters around financial aid eligibility are basically the same. It's just that during the ARCH year, we have to match your aid to pay during the terms when you would be receiving charges, okay? And in terms of the amount of funds, same concept. It's the typical full year of eligibility, and then it's just a matter of placing it into the proper terms and making sure that you're meeting your other general requirements in terms of being enrolled full-time, being in good standing for academic progress, and following the Fafsa in a typical timely manner. On the next slide, we talk a little bit more about the Fafsa. And as most of you probably are aware, the Fafsa is required for applying to have your need-based grants from federal, state, or RPI resources renewed each year. It's also the basic application for other federal programs such as federal work study or the direct loans. But technically, if you're only enrolling on a merit scholarship and if you do not have need-based grants and you do not desire to participate in the loan programs, then technically you do not need to file the FAFSA for each year of enrollment. However, for the students that do receive aid from these sources, the arch year, the timing is going to be a little bit more like when you're coming in as a freshman than it might have been for this year as a sophomore. And the reason I state that is simply that in order to have us in best position to process your aid and have it show as anticipated payments against your bill in a timely manner, we need you to file the FAFSA by December 31st, 2020, if you're going to be in the Arch Summer on Campus in 2021. And again, that's simply so that we have a chance to work your class into our priorities and into our process flow for awarding all the students that are both coming new to Rensselaer and then also for all returning students. And so we like to say that March is for Arch. And so please take that to heart for yourselves as students, and that we're anticipating doing the work for you during the month of March. So please file by December 31st so we can help meet that goal together. And technically the FAFSA will be available starting October 1st. So feel free to file early, file accurately, and let us know how we can help as you go about that. The next slide, we talk a little bit more about the way the programs interact with your Arch experience. I talked about the goal is provide the aid for the terms when you're having course enrollment. But one question that can come up is, could I take a student loan to help pay for my housing expenses if my away experience is not in my hometown, for example, or I don't have a relative to live with, for example? Unfortunately, the answer is no, you're not able to take a federal loan to pay for those expenses during the Arch away term simply because there's no academic coursework of enrollment during that time frame. Even if you're on the independent living, that certainly counts as being at least half time for loan deferment purposes, but technically speaking, that's not academic coursework. So just keep that in mind as you're making your plans. Maybe some of you have an opportunity to consider borrowing a little bit less this year based on the housing changes, but still you have that whole eligibility for the year. So we don't typically talk in these manners, but it might be an opportunity that if you borrow your funding for this year and are able to hold a little bit back, then maybe you're able to use that to help with your summer or your away term expenses for next year. But again, typically it's a matter of staying within the confines of the award year. Summer on campus, next term enrolled, you're able to pay for those terms. All right, and when we mentioned being enrolled at least half time for the loan programs, this is very important because if you're not enrolled at least half time, then we're required to report you as not enrolled to the federal government, who is on electronic file transfer monitoring your enrollment to see whether or not you still qualify for in-school deferment of the loan, or if you qualify for in-school subsidy of the student loan interest on a need-based loan. So if you are going, for example, you're on enrollment for the summer and you're on enrollment for the fall, then there's no break of enrollment, no grace period begins. But consider if that student is away for the spring and then also has that following summer off. Those students are all going to be away for at least 6 months. And if you don't sign up for an Arch away experience for that spring semester, you're going to expire your student loan grace periods and they're going to go into repayment. And what that means is that will end your eligibility for in-school deferment. You will start your loan repayment obligations. And then once you become re-enrolled in courses again, then there's going to be extra paperwork involved in getting your loans back into deferment status. And so that group, the spring away leading into summer, is the group that is kind of most at risk around this topic. But also consider that if you are here for the summer, away for the fall, and then maybe you decide to extend your internship or something like that, you still could end up being away for more than 6 months. So just keep that in mind. Register for your away activities, register for your internships properly, and you should always be able to qualify for in-school status for your student loans. The last slide for me before I turn it over to Michelle is just to let you guys know how to get a hold of us. And certainly we know it's been a little bit of a challenge over the summer, but for this week and the next 2 weeks, we are going to be rebooting our phone customer service. So we'll be a little bit more available if you try to call in, but otherwise email is still the best way to get a hold of us. And we do have a pretty good website about Arch information. You can see the link there. And then one thing that I'll mention is that on Friday, I participated in kind of a little bit of a mini town hall with the class of 2023 leadership. And we talked about maybe getting together later this fall and doing another financial aid update related to the Arch. And so we'll work together to try to get you the information that you need. And I've also provided a current listing of our assistant directors and who kind of is your file manager in terms of the complicated paperwork. We recommend still, please start with our general contact information, but as things get in more detailed, then you can see the range of your last name starting alpha. And then next to that is the assistant director working your account. So with that said, I'll just end it there and turn it over to Michelle. Thank you all again.
We're going to hear from Michelle, the Associate Bursar now. And this is also very important information, so keep an eye on it.
Good morning, everyone. Again, Michelle Orzel, I'm the Associate Bursar. I think the most important thing for everyone to know is, let's start with SIS. This seems to be a confusion with everybody, no matter if you're Arch or not. SIS is real time. Your bill is not. Your bill is a snapshot of the day we send it. So that's a big thing, whether you're in Arch or you're in your regular semesters, what that means. If you want to see if a payment's received and it's in between 2 bill periods, don't go back and look like per se right now at your July bill, you're not going to see it. You can see it on SIS. Aid hasn't paid yet for fall, so you're not going to see it on SIS because, again, SIS is real time what's actually happening. Once Aid pays, which usually is the first week of classes for all semesters, then it will show up on SIS, and then it will also show up in the next statement you're going to get. So we send statements every month except for August and January. So your next big statement will be September, and by then everything that you've been questioning will have caught up. Aid will pay, everything that's happened since July will show, it will be there and show you. So that's your big thing to remember is SIS is very current, and CashNet is a point of time. It's like receiving a bill in the mail. The big thing, we can skip through some dates of other terms. Your summer 2021 bill for the first time is going to come out April 1st. So as Marty stated before, getting your Fafsa in on time and early so that your aid shows on that April 1st bill is very important. So that first bill will be April 1st and it'll be due the 23rd of April. All bills are due prior to classes beginning. So for instance, for this particular fall, the bills went out in July. They were due August 7th, less what your aid would cover. Same thing for spring, always happens in December. And then we do the beginning of January 8th to be factual. And then classes begin and your aid pays. So the difference from what your aid covers to what we're billing you, that's what we're looking to have paid. Making payment. A lot of different ways of doing that. Obviously by now, hopefully you've all learned that online is the quickest, best way for us to have received your payment. There's a link directly on our webpage. There's a link directly in your CashNet e-bill. You can do your online check. Checking your savings account, whatever you prefer to use. And again, there is also a link right from the Bursar's webpage where it says pay your bill on a big red button. So that's always an easy way too. If you have someone from the outside who's not in your bill, grandma, grandpa, or somebody like that wants to make a payment, that's a simple way for them to do it. Definitely, you can still mail us a check. Although we've been doing remote since March, We do make trips to campus, and we do process our checks on anything we've received on a weekly basis. So we are caught up at this point. Again, like I said, it's 1 day or 2 days a week, but we are caught up and we receive our mail every week. So please, if that's the route you prefer to go, by all means, definitely send it to us. Definitely put your RIN number on to check, especially if there's something you're having sent to us from an outside source, a scholarship, a 529. Your name and your RIN number are very, very helpful. If you're international, there are certainly ways of making payment. We ask that you do Flywire. We ask that you take a look in the Flywire site. You will see, based on what type of funds you want to use, there are many, many different methods of payment based on what country currency you're using and what you can do. So there's a lot of different things out there for you. Please explore them before you say, oh, I can't use this. There are a lot of things. Ask us a question, send us a note. We can certainly help you and steer you in the right direction. Like I mentioned before, and like Marty said, filing your FAFSA early is very, very helpful. And paying attention to your requirements on SIS to make sure you've turned everything in is very helpful in getting your aid done in time to show up on that first bill. This will help you also determine if you need a payment plan, and then you can open that in the month of April. The first payment for the summer term begins in May. It is May, June, and July. It's a 3-month plan for summer. So when you get your first bill in April, you know, you will have done all of your stuff. You will see what your aid is. And if you need a payment plan, you can certainly set one up at that time. And you can go find that link right on our webpage, and you can create whatever type of payment plan you need. But like I said, for the summer term, it is 3 months. Past due accounts. We don't like to talk about this. Unfortunately, it happens. Holds and late fees do go on all past due accounts. We are very generous in the time frame that we put them on. We don't put a hold and late fee on right the first time that you're late with the bill. I mean, obviously, bills we're due in August, we don't have holds and late fees on there yet. But once classes start and you're into that first week, you don't have all your ducks in a row. There's always a risk of a hold and late fee, and we don't like to do that. But it does get your attention sometimes. You know, if there's something you forgot and you're like, geez, I have a hold, and you haven't looked at your account, this will prompt you into seeing what it is you might be missing, turning in a document to FA, a payment that you thought you made that just you didn't, that type of thing. When you get to the end of your time, you don't want to have a hold. It prevents you from getting transcripts. It prevents you from registering for the future. And at the very end of all things, you want to get your diploma. So you don't want to have one moving that far down the road towards graduation. An outstanding balance, definitely not something that we like to talk about either. But when we get to the middle of a semester, you need to look. If your bill isn't paid and you've got a hold on and all of that, you do run the risk of being placed on a financial leave of absence. Each semester has to be paid in full safely by the middle of that semester, so that you don't run the risk of starting to get those notes from us to say, you know, you're in danger of being put on a financial leave of absence. What that means for you is, if you're placed on a financial leave of absence, you have to pay off the balance that you have from the past. And before you can be readmitted back to the institute, you have to prepay for the semester you're looking to come back into. So if you can do all your due diligence and get everything done so that that's just a bump in the road that you don't have to deal with, that would be great. Again, I'll go back and rehash the payment plans. There's a 3-month installment plan for the summer. It's May, June, July. If you are signed up by the 30th of April, then you get in on the 3-month. Once you hit May 1st, you're then down to a 2-month. This is the same for summer and fall as well. Those are 4 months. So coming into this fall, it's August, September, October, November. If you want to, you had to be signed up by July 31st to get the 4 months. Once you get into the next month, you're down to 3 months, 2 months, and so on and so forth. Payment plan applications, you can start them, like I said, in April for the May, and you can start in June for the July for fall, and the same happens with the spring one, which starts January 1st. You can start signing up for that in late November. So in terms of getting in touch with us, our email address, bursar@rpi.edu, is the best way to get in touch with us. We are very prompt in returning your emails. You can certainly reach out to us by phone. We do have a phone set up so that those messages go right directly to our email, and we do respond to you as quickly as possible. We are trying to keep up with the 24 to 36-hour turnaround, and we're doing a pretty good job. There are some times when it's very heavy, like when bills are due or when registration's coming, so please be patient. As we move forward in this pandemic, we don't know, how quickly we will be back on campus as we'd like to be in a full-time status, but definitely reach out by email. We will definitely get back to you, and please don't be afraid to ask us any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle and Martin. Now we're going to transition over to the sophomore class dean, Ms. Isabel Norman.
Hi, everyone. I'm Isabel Norman. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am so excited to be your sophomore class dean this year. As some of you may or may not know, I have been at RPI a little over a year now. So like you, our freshman year ended like we never would have expected or even imagined. And I know that 2020 continues to surprise, confuse, and challenge us. But if you have learned anything from your freshman year, it is that you can handle and will handle everything that is thrown at you. And I want you to know, no matter where you are experiencing your sophomore year, I know we're all remote this year. So no matter where you're experiencing your fall semester or what you may be going through, I am with you at every step to provide support and guidance. If you are wondering when or why you should contact your class dean, here are some examples. If you are struggling to keep up in your classes and you've received some EWSs, you can reach out to me and we can discuss strategies to improve your academic performance. Or perhaps you had a really great semester and you want more of a challenge, we can discuss looking into some additional opportunities that may be available to you. Or perhaps you are facing a difficult situation and you don't know where to start to resolve it or who to reach out to help you resolve it. You can always start with me as your class dean. So essentially what I'm saying is, when in doubt, reach out to your class dean first and I will help you figure out who you need to contact, what resources you may need to get you through anything that you are going through. I'm also certain that Arch will be a great life learning experience for you. And I say that intentionally, life learning, because this is definitely more than just about your academics or your work experience. Those are great pieces of it, but it's really about adjusting to life and what you are going to be doing with that. So I just want to share a quick story that when I was an undergraduate studying psychology, I truly, truly thought that I wanted to work with kids. And then I did an internship at a daycare and quickly realized that working with kids was not what I wanted to do with my life. Then I thought I wanted to go into social work. So I did a second internship at a social services agency. And again, quickly realized that that's not what I wanted to do either. And then finally, I took a job on campus as a peer counselor and a tutor. And I knew that working in higher ed was what I wanted to do with my life. So because of my experiences, I truly believe in the power of internships and their ability to help us figure out the age-old question of what do I want to do in my life, or in my case, what I don't want to do with my life. And so while I don't necessarily recommend 3 internships to figure it out, as I'm sure Bruce may recommend, I do hope that your Arch experience is equally as enlightening, as fulfilling, and allows you to gain clarity on what you want to do after graduating from RPI. So in closing, if you need to reach me, feel free to email me. I can be reached at Norma, it's listed there, normai@rpi.edu, or if you go to the Student Success website, you can set up an appointment with me. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you from today through Arch, all the way through graduation. And I'm wishing you all the best this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. Now we're going to shift over to planning for the semester away, where a majority of your questions were asked. So we're going to hear from Dr. Tiffany Powell first regarding the Arch academic programs and the Office of Undergraduate Education. And then we'll hear from Philip Bruce, the Director of the Career and Professional Development. And then we'll shift into our panel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tiffany Powell, and I'm the Director of the Arch Academic Programs. I am housed in the Office of Undergraduate Education, and I have the pleasure of walking you through the variety of semester away opportunities that are available to you. We have our lovely photo, which we love so much. That kangaroo always gives us so much joy every time we see that photo, and we hope that it would just sort of spark some ideas of what we can do during your semester away as well. So let's just kind of go through the list. The first thing I want to start with is that you'll notice from what's available to you right now on this screen that all experiences have the prefix of ILE, which stands for an individual learning experience. The reason for that is each person will have an experience that will be individualized. It's going to be very specific to their needs, their interests, their career goals, their educational trajectory. And so we are understanding that we want students to be aware of that. So when you see ILE, make sure that you're taking a look at what comes after that, because that's going to specify the opportunity that you're looking to take advantage of. So the first one is an ILE Co-op. And you'll notice that the second is ILE Internship. And I'm just going to talk about them very briefly because our director, Philip Bruce, will give you even more information about them. But just if you're trying to decide what is the difference between a co-op and an internship, the co-op is longer. That's basically the difference. It usually runs about 6 months. And sometimes some students have experiences that run from the spring all the way through the summer experience. And that's where it's sort of a longer learning and working opportunity. Internships specifically usually are just for 1 semester. And there are specifications around how many hours are attached to that experience, and what sort of encompasses an internship opportunity. But typically, those are going to be working for various labs. You can work at various companies, organizations. It may even be a company that you may know that's in conjunction with your family, neighbors, some places you've maybe worked previously or know someone who can give you a connection. Those are all great. And in addition to your personal connections, there are other institute-wide connections that you can make as well. And as mentioned, Director Philip Bruce will talk to you more about those. Let's just jump into the international experiences. Those are typically your study abroads. And so there's students who select to go abroad, to go to other countries, to work, and to have some other type of, academic experience. For them to highlight what they're going to do there. You also have your ILE research, and research is really around working, and you could work in conjunction with our faculty here at RPI. Those remote experiences must all be remote in nature. However, there are some great connections there. There's a nice set of fireside chats that we had this past summer where faculty introduced some great research opportunities that students can take advantage of. So I'll encourage you to go to the website and take a look at those and hear from your own faculty, if they're not your personal faculty, but just some faculty that are here at the Institute, that really give you a nice broad perspective of how you can get connected to research opportunities that are here as a part of our campus experiences. But there are also research opportunities that are beyond. There are other labs, there are other universities, there are other organizations that provide opportunities for students to connect with their passion around the area of research. So if that's something that you're interested in, and you would select ILE research as your semester away opportunity. There's also ILE civic engagement, and this is a lot of times connected to volunteerism, some type of philanthropic experience, something that takes you into the community that typically is not paid. It just gives you an opportunity to just sort of expand your horizons and to connect with organizations that give you a broad scope of what's available in communities and in various civic sort of opportunities. So just take a look at those and see how that may be of interest to you, if that's something that piques your kind of tickles your fancy a little bit. The ILE study at another U.S. institution. This provides students with an opportunity to take courses at another school, usually at a 2-year institution if they're trying to catch up in some type of way. But there are also other programs that are afforded students to extend and expand what they're actually doing here at the Institute. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can also take a look at that. You have to follow the guidelines that are specified by that particular institution. So we have it as a selection, but you must follow those guidelines. Please note that you will continue to remain matriculated here at RPI. It's just going to just be something that you'll be doing just for a semester. So you would sort of enter that institution as a non-matriculated student. So that's something that you must be aware of. And the last is the ILE self-design. And what this is an opportunity for you to completely design your own semester away opportunity. It may include bits and pieces of some of the others that have been mentioned, but it may be something completely different. And that's what's the nice thing about it. It's sort of a wild card if you think of it. It's sort of like, I just want to have a blank slate and I want to do something that's of interest to me. Now, this coming year, we have 2 new opportunities that are connected to the self-design. I'm going to talk to you about one of them here in a moment. So let's kind of go to the next slide. Oh, before I get there, okay, there's one more slide before that. My apologies. So if you want to stay connected to these various opportunities and know which office you should reach out to, if you're interested in internships or co-ops or civic engagement, you're going to contact CCPD. If you're interested in research opportunities on campus or connected with faculty on campus, study at another U.S. institution, or a self-design, you're going to contact me in the Office of Undergraduate Education. If you're interested in study abroad or other international experiences, you're going to contact the Office of International Programs. And so these offices, the information are all listed on the website. You can reach out to them specifically and make sure that you're asking your questions that are tailored to the particular opportunity that you're interested in pursuing. I'm just going to talk very briefly about one of the specific pathways that are now available for the self-design. So typically, self-design opportunities have been something that was sort of selected by the student based on what their interests were, and it can be very varied. But what we're looking to do this particular year is provide an opportunity for students to specify their ILE opportunity in something called a whole leadership development. And there's a variety of topics that are listed there that can be covered during that time around leadership identity, purposeful goals, learning through experience, investing in the learning and growth of others, such a variety of topics that are covered. These topics are very applicable to anyone in any field, and that's why I think it's such an attractive opportunity. So if someone is saying, I would like to do a self-design, but I want it specifically geared toward leadership development, this would be the pathway that you would take. The nice thing about this opportunity is that at the end of the semester-long experience, students would receive a certificate that certifies that they have gone through the whole leadership development course. It's something that can be listed on your resume. It's something that can really be a talking point when you're going in for interviews. And so if this is something that really is piquing your interest, when you select your semester away opportunity and you're saying, I want to specify, I want to learn more about this leadership opportunity, you can definitely connect with me on that. You'll notice that there is a cost of $150 per student, and we can talk a little bit more about that. It's just what it costs to just have access to all of those tools. And there's a variety of assessments and various tools and even interpersonal connections that's available for the students. So we can talk more specifically about that. I just want to just revisit the point that Director Felder made also about when she gave you the week at glance. Thursday, I will have a session where I talk specifically about the ILE self-design, and I will speak more in depth about this leadership opportunity in addition to one other that is geared specifically toward career development. So what's nice about the ILE self-design is that it's taking on a new look. It's even more enhanced. And so if you are a student that's saying, I want to learn more about this, I encourage you to come to Thursday's session, tap in, ask as many questions as you like, and maybe this may be something that you select. Just want to give a little bit more information about the semester away opportunities as it relates to international experiences. There are deadlines for these, so we want to remain cognizant that you stay connected to the Office of International Programs so that you know what those deadlines are. I believe that for the spring semester, the deadline is September 15th. So if you're thinking that you want to have a study abroad opportunity, of course, pending opening of countries as it relates to our pandemic and what we're experiencing right now. So please keep that in mind as well. But make sure that you are connecting with Karen DeRorjak in the Office of International Programs, who can give you a better sense of how to connect to these programs. You want to plan ahead. While study abroad may be something that is of great interest to you, you also want to have a fallback plan, because in light of what we're dealing with globally, that may not be something that's fully viable for you. So do your research, do your homework, ask the questions, make sure you're applying, but also have something else in mind in the event that that particular experience is not going to be the most viable for you. So finally, if you would like to connect with me, ask anything specific, you can also always email me. Here, the email address is listed. I do check that email every day, several times a day, so you will get a pretty quick turnaround on your inquiry. So I look forward to speaking with you. I also look forward to connecting with those students who want to learn more about the ILE self-design this Thursday. Welcome to your Arch experience. It's going to be wonderful, and I definitely will be here to assist you in any way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Powell. We're now going to trans over to Director Bruce with CCPD.
Thank you, Diamond. Thank you, everyone, for being on the experience here this morning. I thought it would be helpful if we started off just explaining a little bit about what the CCPD structure looks like. So to help you understand how we have, set things up to serve you and to help you in this Arch experience, we have 3 teams, essentially. The career development team is a team that I hope at this point you've already accessed during your freshman year and have understood that they are there to help you. If not, we highly encourage you to go ahead and start that relationship. This team focuses entirely on you as students. There is a career counselor assigned to each college, and we have 2 for engineering, given the size. So when you reach out, you're going to be connecting with someone who will be there with you all 4 years of your campus experience. And that's important because your goals, your dreams, what you want to do with your life, all of those things are going to change somewhat during your 4 years here. Having someone that, complements what Isabel does for you on the advocacy side for your cohort, that is going to be with you all 4 years. And if you take advantage of them early and set up appointments and work with them so they understand what your needs are, we're going to be in a much better place to be able to support you and help deliver on your expectations. The folks that help manage your semester away and provide an exceptional experience for you is the Experiential Learning team. So these folks, once you have secured a semester away opportunity in one of the categories that we oversee, so internship, co-op, civic engagement, and some parts of research, we're going to enroll you in an LMS course. And that course is going to be something that connects you and tethers you back to the institution. You'll have an initial work report, and it's a great opportunity for you to connect with the instructor in that course to understand what's happening at your internship or co-op, or how do you make the most of it. It's also something that I'll share with you in a future slide that we try to connect you to alumni in the area that you're working in. So if you need to know where the best Walmart is, the safest place to go get lunch, this or that, or you just want to have an interaction with an alumni member because you happen to be in Silicon Valley doing your away experience, that's the team that helps set all of that up, manages it. And it's a very important course for you to be registered in. Of course, there's no cost associated with it. It's a 0 credit course, but it does tether you to the institution and it allows us to help you. So for instance, if we happen to find ourselves in a pandemic and you happen to be in Sweden doing an internship, we need to know how to help you get home. We need to know if you're okay and how to support you in that. So do please pay attention to that LMS course when you get registered into it. As far as where do these opportunities come from? How do we source them? How do we find jobs at Boeing, at Lockheed, at all of these companies that you would want to work with? Well, that falls on the employer relations team. So you won't see those folks. They are busy behind the scenes developing and sourcing these opportunities and uploading them into Handshake, which is our platform that if you're not familiar with, you will be after this week. And we're excited about that platform. We think it has a great student interface. We think you'll enjoy using it. It's got customized jobs that come to you based on what you tell us you want to do. And that goes back to my original point about the career development team. If you tell your counselor, hey, I'm really interested in doing XYZ, then they are able to internally communicate back to the employer relations team. We really need to find some jobs or experiences or build a corporate relationship with this company because we've got students who are interested in going there. If you have your resume critiqued and uploaded in Handshake, we're going to be able to share that with employers on your behalf. So that's how all 3 of these teams are connected and work to serve you. As we move to the next slide, you'll see that we have the Arch Planning and Exploration course. This is a required course for every human that goes to RPI that wants to graduate. So if you're an athlete, if you're an ROTC, you've got an Arch exception. You still have to take this class. And it's not because we love just making you take courses. It's because this course is going to deliver content for you that you'll use for the rest of your life. Seriously, that's what it's for. It's to help you develop these life skills and career skills at an early enough time in your college career that you can take advantage of them. All of the content is delivered by our CCPD and employer partners. So those career counselors, they teach it by school. So if you are in computer science, you're going to have your same counselor that you've been working with help develop content that helps you in a computer science driven world. It is also something that we are engaging alumni partners and employer partners in. So you'll hear from recruiters at top companies, and they'll explain to you what they're going to want to see on your applications in the next 6 months. And that's really important in a pandemic, in a world that's just been sort of flipped upside down. You know, everything looks a little different now. There are still consistencies from 6 months ago that we're seeing today, like you need to know how to interact positively with other people. It just happens to be done in a virtual way this time. And people can still see you. It's not like you're not going to interact with people and see their faces and things like that, just like we're doing here. So there are a lot of things that are still the same. They just have a little different slant on them given the world that we're living in now. So as a result, this course will help you navigate all of those things. It will deliver content and resources to you that will be immensely helpful if you take advantage of it. So you don't get an academic grade in terms of an A, B, C, or D. You get an S or a U. If you complete the course, you do the modules, and you've retained and developed and can demonstrate that you understand the information, you're going to get an S. If you don't, then you're going to get to retake it until we help you get it right. So again, this is a required course to graduate. All of you will be automatically enrolled in it starting in January in the spring semester, and it will be by your school. So we look forward to serving you in that capacity and really having a great dialogue with you in terms of understanding what you want to do and how we can get you there. On the next slide, this is what I was referring to earlier. You know, when you go on your semester away, even if you're doing an individual learning experience, you just happen to be doing it in Silicon Valley, or you're working for Google or Tesla or some company like that. We have an executive council that is in Silicon Valley and responsible for helping us give you a great experience while you're on your internship or co-op. So let's take that example of working at Tesla in Silicon Valley. There's going to be a couple of times during that semester that you're away that we're going to introduce you to alumni at other companies who are interested in helping you have a great experience. You know, it's very important that you get a good, solid network as soon as possible. And in today's world, that looks like LinkedIn, that looks like social media. It looks like just having a good reference for somebody who knows you and knows what you're capable of. Those are all the kind of things that will help prepare you for life after college in a very positive way. Now, it's not just restricted to Silicon Valley. We're also working actively with the New York Council and the Greater New England Council, which is in Boston. There are others that are scheduled for release very soon in Washington, D.C. and Dallas. Probably going to wait on Hong Kong until everything just gets handled there. But so stay tuned on that one. And then, of course, mainland Europe, because we know RPI students are global in nature and they come from all over the world. The last thing I want to say about this is, you know, we record and provide access to students who are in every time zone on the planet. So if there's a webinar or a session that you really wanted to attend, but you weren't able to at the time that it was offered live, there's a recording of that on our website so you can access it. It's also something that our counselors are very cognizant of. So our hours have changed from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. You know, Monday through Friday. We're going to have live counselors available to you if we can possibly make that happen. So keep in mind that whatever area you go to in the world, we're going to try to have alumni help you adjust and help make that a wonderful experience for you. And then on the next slide, this is just a little bit of advice that I've been here for 14 months now. And these are kind of some of the things I've noticed that I think could help you, right? The first is you need to take this seriously. This is your life. This is your college experience, and this is your arch semester. So you need to think about that. And what does that mean for you? And how do you leverage the resources that have been shared here today with you to give you the best experience? It is a personal journey. This is something that you are undertaking, you know, and that at the end of the day, it's your life. So you'll get as much out of it as you put into it. If you spend 20 hours trying to figure out how to secure an exception from the arts program, that's 20 hours you could have put into finding the dream internship, you know, that makes your life wonderful. So think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And know that there are people that are willing to go above and beyond to help you find those things that truly interest you and secure them. And to that end, we want you to attend things. We want you to go to virtual information sessions, to virtual career fairs. Nesby Shep is having a career fair coming up in September. We've got 7 weeks of industry engagement that we're doing from the CCPD this fall. Just because you're a year away from actually going on your experience, you should still attend these. You should still log on and find out from the BMW information session what their recruiters want to see on your resume and on your application when you apply next year. And if you do those things, they're going to remember that you took their advice and you did what you were supposed to do. That's how you get the leg up that you're going to need to secure these opportunities. Some of the places that our students wind up going, you know, I could have filled 50 slides with these, but these are just some that I think you may have heard of and that may mean something to you. So, you know, if you want to go to Bermuda, that sounds like a pretty good way to spend a semester. You could also be doing that and doing research, like at the Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences. If that's not quite your thing, you don't want to be on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I get that also. Let's try NASA, right? You've heard of them. They've got a lot of amazing programs and you qualify for them. If you got into RPI and you have survived your first year, you were smart enough to work at any of these places. Where you need our help is making sure that you can communicate and articulate that to these recruiters. So, you know, at the end of the day, if you don't see a list of the company that you want to work at on our site, please let us know. That's where talking to that career counselor and saying, hey, I really want to work at this company. Do we have any connections there? That's, if we hear that from you, we will go make that happen. So while we are not a placement agency, I do not have a drawer full of jobs that I think you might like. We will do everything we can to get you into whatever company and access whatever recruitment cycle they have so you can be successful in getting there. But if you don't tell us, it's gonna be really hard for us to just guess that correctly. So please get in touch with us. Please let us help you. That's what we're here to do, and we're excited to do that. If you have any questions, on the next slide is my contact information, and you will be able to access this, as I mentioned, virtually the entire time this fall semester and spring. So please do reach out. We've got those appointments, as I mentioned, and as you see down at the bottom, we're here to help and are excited to do it.
All righty, thank you to all our presenters. We're now going to shift into a very brief FAQ session, and I do encourage you, if your question is not answered or you have a very specific question about your portion, email the office. That would more than likely be able to answer it. If you're not sure who that is, email the arch at rpi.edu and we'll make sure that the correct office finds out. So, very first question is for financial aid. Will my FAFSA pay for a study abroad semester?
That is a great question to start with, and the answer is it depends. The study abroad programs are generally put into two categories. For lack of better terms, we'll just call them affiliated versus unaffiliated programs. An affiliated study abroad program has a relationship with Rensselaer where the credit hours are going to be accepted to the degree program, and basically all the payments and other things are pretty much looking like a typical Rensselaer semester. So if you have an away experience that study abroad with an affiliated study abroad program, then yes, your FAFSA aid can help pay for that. One thing, we went through the conversation about 8 semesters of eligibility, is that for some students that might mean that during their arch year, they would use 3 semesters of their institutional eligibility. The summer, their other typical term of enrollment, and then the affiliated study abroad. So if you're interested in that, let us know. We can help you navigate that. Then, of course, the opposite side is that if it's a non-affiliated study abroad, generally speaking, you would not be eligible for any of your Rensselaer gift aid because that is a separate arrangement and you're paying directly to the program or to the international host school. In those situations, if you wanted to use any of your student loan or federal Pell Grant eligibility, that is possible, but it requires what's called a consortium agreement. And there's more paperwork involved for that. And in those cases, that would be expiring federal aid, not Rensselaer aid. So I know that's not a real short answer, but again, just separate it that way. Rensselaer gift aid can go towards an affiliated program to help that be realistic. Your federal aid, you could choose to use a portion towards a non-affiliated program. And otherwise, again, I think it comes down to the individual student and a little more interactive conversation.
Thank you. The next question is for the Arch, so Director Felder. Does my away semester have to align with my major or minor?
Yes, so your away semester needs to be within the parameters of if your discipline goes away fall or spring. So on the Arch website, there is a section called Arch Institute Policies. Each one of your majors is listed in that section, and it says if you have the option to go away in the fall or spring, if you can do both, or if you must go away in the fall due to your academic plan, or if you must go away in the spring due to your academic plan. And those fall or spring away have been determined by the academic department. So if you do happen to secure an opportunity for the fall term, but you're scheduled to go away in the spring, that would then be a case where we would do a semester away designation switch. Once you're approved by the CCPD or the OUE, whomever it is that you're working with, that opportunity has been secured, we will do our best and we will make that switch for you so that you can pursue that opportunity in the opposing semester. And if that does work out with your academic plans, all will be well and you'll be able to do both, pursue your academic career and take the semester away, which you've secured the opportunity.
Thank you. The next question is for CCPD. Are summer internships permitted?
Are summer internships permitted? Well, I mean, the whole reason that we have Arch is because you're going to be going away in the fall or the spring. So no. And as a result, there is an exception process for very, very unique and tailored situations. And those, I mean, to give you an example, less than 7% of the whole Arch cohort received a career exception last year. And those were truly for exceptions that the student had no control over. They were either in a program that required them to do a summer internship experience with a research company or a government organization, or they had received an experience that would have been truly life-changing in a way that they just simply could not do it in the fall or spring. And those are very, very rare. So I guess you could do a summer internship at the same time you're fully enrolled in the Arch program, but that would be something we would definitely want to help you understand what that would look like and whether or not you want to undertake that. But you know, our goal and what I was hired to do was to make sure that there are opportunities for you in the fall and spring so you can commit to studying and doing all of those things that Director Felder shared with you that you're going to be doing during your summer term. So that is our goal, is to make sure you have a great on-campus experience in the summer, and then you have the opportunities that you want in whichever of the semesters you're supposed to do your away semester in.
And I also want to just add quickly to that students, you did receive in the email this morning, so you have an Arch calendar now that is in your Arch brochure. The back of that calendar has all of the important dates that you will need to be aware of as it relates to anything regarding the Arch. So the semester away selection date is there. The day that Arch exception process opens is on there as well. So you should be aware of these timeframes, because once those processes open and those web forms become open and you're submitting your documents for review, there will be a time in which that process closes. And we want to make sure that you have those dates and deadlines in front of you today at the start of your sophomore year, so that when those times do come, you are prepared and ready and available to do whatever is necessary, because once those processes close, we will be gearing up for summer registration. So make sure that you read those Arch brochures that you have. Download the link. It's a electronic brochure, and it has all of your important dates on there, guys. So I want to make sure you have that information.
Thank you. The next question is for OUE. Is research on campus available as a semester away?
So yes, the answer to that question is yes. You can work collaboratively with a faculty member, RPI faculty member. However, students are not allowed to be directly on campus. So the experience must be remote in nature, but there can be a collaboration with a RPI faculty member with a student, and that can be considered a semester away opportunity that's viable.
Thank you. And the final question is for the Arch. Do athletes and ROT students receive Arch exemptions? And if so, how will they go about that process?
Yes, so that was the other thing I wanted to note as well. Thank you guys for asking that. So for our ROTC students in ROTC, doesn't matter which branch you are in, all ROTC students are required to complete the Arch exemption form. It does not matter if you've already received from your commander-in-chief what your fall and spring term look like. In order for those things to go on file and on your record, we have to make sure that you submit those exceptions during the exception window. Now, for athletes, you'll want to review the Arch website, because not all sports receive an exception from the Arch. So you want to make sure that when you review the actual institute policies, you know where your sport falls in line with the Arch exception process. So before submitting an Arch exception form, you want to make sure that you are in line with those policies and procedures, because in the event that you are not in line with those policies and procedures, once that exception process closes, you will receive formal notification that your application was not reviewed due to it not being in policy and procedure. So you want to make sure that you're submitting for the reasons that need to be. And just to give you a quick view of that, it is an academic matriculation reason or a career-related reason. And so as we get more into the window where you will be picking your semester away selection, I believe it begins December 11th, and Arch exception review December 11th. That is when you want to be prepared for those conversations, okay? The other thing I wanted to note, on your Arch Discovery Day brochure, you have a recruiter timeline at the very bottom. Mr. Bruce, can you speak just really quickly to that recruiter timeline? Because sometimes students think that they're in line as far as, you know, the semester goes, but recruiters are actually a little bit earlier. They're before the 8 ball. So we want to make sure you know that as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. And that's a great point, right? So, you know, I'll give you a couple of examples. Companies develop internship and co-op pipelines because it's beneficial to them to engage students early on and try to retain them as permanent employees. So every company does that a little bit differently. If you take a company like Microsoft, for example, they begin recruiting a year out. So this fall, when you see an opportunity to attend a Microsoft information session, they're recruiting for fall 2021. And if you are looking for an opportunity to work at Microsoft, you need to be going to those things this fall. If you are looking at working at Regeneron, for example, they start recruiting early in January for the next fall and spring. So I think it's important that you, again, connect with your counselor, let them know what your interest is, and then we can tell you when these companies are specifically recruiting and what semester they're recruiting for. If you go to attend a large fair, you're going to find companies that are recruiting for positions this fall, all the way through spring 2022. And it's important for you to talk to them and understand what their recruitment cycle is, because every one of them are a little bit differently. So the point of all of this is if you wait until the summer next year, in August, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna start looking for that fall away opportunity, you have created a great deal of work and stress for yourself, your family, and us in the CCPD. And we don't want anybody to experience that. So please come to us early. Let us help figure out what company you want and what their recruitment cycle is. And that way we can get you set up for success.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. So just a brief reminder for what to expect for this week. You have attended the opening session. Congratulations. You will have to complete the Percipio module this week from August 24th to the 28th. Complete your Handshake profile this week also. Attend your academic sessions. There are a variety throughout the week. If you're unable to attend, you'll need to contact your department. Your semester-wide selection happens at the end of this fall term, and enrollment in the Arch Exploration course begins next spring. So it's not happening this fall as it has been in the past. And to secure your semester-wide opportunity, think ahead. You have to think for fall 2021 or spring 2022. So with that in mind, we have completed our opening session. Thank you, all of our presenters, for chiming in. And we hope you have a wonderful week. Any questions, please email thearch@rpi.edu. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.